Morning, welcome to Casa TexPina. We're on build day number 37. As you can see by looking at Mount Riot, we've got a little drizzle on the way. And also today is going to be interesting for the guys because we have no power on in the area from 8 to 5, so we've got a power out all day. It was a scheduled power outage, but they didn't tell us about it until last night, so it should be interesting to see how things go today. They should be continuing. That just means that they'll be mixing the concrete and the mortar by hand, so it'll slow down just a little bit, but not too much. They are continuing with the block walls construction inside, and I believe most of the 6 inches completed. They're going to be pulling the forms off of the columns that they poured yesterday, moving those over to some of the other locations, other columns that they look to be pouring within today or tomorrow. As long as the rain stays like this, I know y'all can probably barely see this, but it's like very, very light drizzle. As long as it stays like this, we shouldn't have a problem being able to work all the way through the day. Let's see what they're working on. Let's look in the front of the house where everybody's getting started. Mr. Orley is up on the scaffolding doing lintel beam across the formal dining room. Mr. Jericho and a couple others are setting up scaffolding in the bedroom number 3. They're going to continue hollow block on that section. Let's go ahead and walk through the house. Mr. Alex and Mr. Marvin are building the forms for the lintel beam between the great room and the master suite. Mr. Edmund is chipping out the concrete from the columns that they pulled off the forms so that they can get it prepped for doing plaster work when they're done. They're also looking at the forms that they did yesterday. So they're still pulling those off this morning. They need to pull off. They pulled off this one, the one over here in the back corner. They'll pull this one and these two from bedroom 2 and the garage. So they're working on pulling those off. Mr. Manny is still up on the top of the scaffolding and putting in additional stirrups up to the roof beam level. So we got Mr. Ben over here on the bottom, prepping to do hollow block around the inside of bedroom 3. Same thing with Mr. Jericho and his assistant on the outside, Mr. June. All right, let's go walk through the other side and see where everybody else is at. Going through the kitchen and the breakfast nook. So doing 5-inch hollow block here in the garage, between the garage and the pantry. They mixing the mortar by hand. As I mentioned, the power was going to go out. It was a scheduled power outage. We told the workers earlier this morning, but apparently they didn't get the word that it was coming out exactly at 8 o'clock. So they still had a batch of cement and sand that they were getting ready to make mortar with inside the mixer. So they're pulling that out by hand now. Looks like we're also doing, let me go look at the other side. Looks like we're also doing hollow block on the maid's suite. So the maid suite is getting hollow block as well. And again, all the interior walls are 5-inch. Alright, we got a delivery of cement. Looks like ours is in the middle and they've got a delivery for somebody else. Huh, 50? We got 50 bags of cement. So they're going to take all this, put it in the room. Probably not going to take more than 10-15 minutes tops. All right, let's go look around and see what's going on. Oh, these guys are going quick. We got walls going up in the maid's room, bathroom, and utility room. These are going to be the wall adjoining the garage on this side. And then Mr. Ben over here, oh sorry, Mr. June over here, is putting up the hollow block wall between the pantry and the garage. Mr. Jericho and Mr. Ben are doing hollow block on doing the block walls on the bedroom number 3. Mr. Manny and Orly are doing the lintel beams around the dining room. Okay, let's continue down the hallway. Coming out of bedroom 2, going through the hallway. Dining room, office, sprinkled it down a little bit to control the dust. And Mr. Alex and Mr. Marvin are continuing with the lintel beam forms. This is between the great room on this side and the master suite on the other. And there goes our concrete delivery guys. So we've got all our concrete for today, another 50 bags. Well, today in the Philippines, it's a holiday. Special non-working holiday. Today is the Etsa Memorial Day, remembrance of when they had the People Power Revolution to oust Ferdinand Marcos. And how do you like this for a fine? How do you do? All my family comes over to visit the job site and they take over my bahay kubo. Yep, they're all here doing gambling in my house. My field office got taken over. All right, brother Manny's up there putting on the stirrups. Our most agile worker is also our oldest on site. Mr. Manny here is 68 years old. So we're putting up the interior wall. This is in between the utility room and the bathroom for the maid. This one's between the garage on this side, utility room, maid's room on this side, restroom in the middle, utility room down here where Mr. Oliver is at. And on this side of the house, we've gone up 6 courses of hollow block between the garage and the pantry. Got our tie rods every third or fourth course. So this one went at 4, and then they're going to put another one up here at 3. Then over on this side, oh, sige, magan. Lunchtime. Yeah, that'll look good. This does a joint right here. The wall comes in, and then right here is going to be the doorway for the closet. This will be a coat closet that's going to open up out into the hallway. On the back side, right here is going to be the walk-in closet for bedroom number 3. And Mr. Jericho is still wrapping up with the hollow block for bedroom 3. So he's getting the large 6-inch block on the outside, and the 5-inch block is coming here on the inside. Mr. Alex and Mr. Marvin have still been working on this forms for the lintel beam between the master suite and the great room. Okay, so I got a representative here from WaterTech. They're doing a water quality test on the water that we have on the job site that's going to be going into the house, so we can customize the water purification system that we need to get. So if the water tests really well, then we don't need as high of a filtration system. So let's take a look.
So here you can see that you have hard water, so that's expected from the water district. So you have hard water right now, and then I'll also test if you have problem with iron, because some areas here have iron problems.
Okay. Yeah, I know when we do like if we wash our clothes first thing in the morning, the whites turn really yellow.
Yes, that's a problem with iron.
That's the problem with the iron. Okay.
Yes, so you have an iron problem, because even the smallest amounts of iron cause stains.
Right.
Yeah, so you definitely have an iron problem that would need to be solved, because if you do not remove the iron, your tiles, your kitchen, they would have orange stains or yellow stains, and that's a result of dissolved iron or precipitated iron. So with water district from Angeles and Mabalacat, that's quite common. Yeah.
Okay.
But not in all areas. So unfortunately, the pumping station that supplies water here has poor quality in terms of iron content.
Okay. Look at what's going on after lunch. Looks like Mr. Manny is still working on stirrups. My apologies if you start hearing a lot of popping. It is very windy, which aggravates the loose cable situation that I have. Mr. Orland is still bending stirrups. Man, we got small ones for the small stirrups for the lintel beams. You got big stirrups for the, this is for the post in the front. Yeah, the post for the front porch. And then you got long skinny ones for columns for the second floor. Yeah. Brand new ones on the floor. All right. And then Mr. Marvin and Mr. Alex are still working on the lintel beam between the great room and the master. Mr. Jojo over here is taking out the forms from the concrete we poured yesterday. Let's see what the concrete looks like on this side. Not too bad, not too bad. That's good looking concrete. Got a little bit of honeycomb at the bottom, but like I said, they'll plaster over most of this and it'll help hold in the rest of it. Looks like we have another delivery this afternoon. I believe it's rebar. And let me get up here and find out exactly how much of it is ours. So we got 12 millimeter. These are right here, 10 millimeter. These guys are building the lintel beam across the large picture window on the great room, looking out over the patio. Cleaning up some of the concrete. Alright, time for an afternoon walk around. Mr. Jojo over here is putting up a form for the column between the dirty kitchen and the breakfast nook. Making sure, putting spacers in there, make sure we got enough gap between the edge of the rebar and the side of the column, or the side of the form. Nope. Looks great, thank you. This gentleman over here is still building walls. We got Mr. Jericho on the exterior wall. Started adding in where it's going to connect to the outside edge of the closet, the exterior wall right here in front of us. Mr. Ben is still working on the interior wall, separating bedroom 3 from the hallway. Wow, they put in a lot of fill in here. It's nice. This is what ground level is going to look like. Very different from walking around way down there. Still working on the walls. This is now inside of bedroom number 2, where Jay and Mr. June are working, doing the masonry work. You notice the hollow block missing in the middle over here. This is so that they can connect the wall going this direction, and it'll line up with all the holes that they have on the other side. So every other block will intersect, and it'll have the whole, the wall will be a whole piece, so it's all interconnected. Makes for a stronger connection on the hollow block wall. Okay, let's go look over here in the master suite. They are starting to finish the lintel beams across the top, and so this is Mr. Orley, and behind the column form there is Mr. Manny. They're working on the lintel beam, the rebar for that. And then here in the center, this is Mr. Alex and Mr. Marvin, and they are working on doing the form for the lintel beam, the same as they did on this wall here between the master suite and the living room. Sorry, trying to keep you guys in the shade so you ain't blinded by the sunlight. But going well. Alright, so the guys are starting to pour this afternoon. They're going to pour this whole lintel beam along the great room wall. Starting on this end, since it's already been closed up, they are still working on closing the form on the other end. Should be closed up by the time we get down there. and that'll probably be this whole wall will probably, this whole lintel beam on this side will probably be the end of today's business. We're at 4 o'clock now, and they get off a little bit before 4. Oh, sorry, a little bit before 5. So it should have just enough time to get past the 3rd column, maybe even all the way up to the end. So let's watch along. This is going to be a little bit, I'm going to put it on a time lapse and hopefully get it in a good spot where you can see what's going on. Alright, we're going to start closing up for Casa TexPina, build day number 37. So what do they work on today? They've got a lot of the block walls done behind me from this whole side of the house. So they were working bedroom 3 exterior wall, the bedroom 3 interior wall, the wall over behind that for bedroom 2 going into the garage, where those walls join over there. So they've got those all started. They also started on the walls around the maid's suite. So the maid's room, the bathroom, and the utility room all have block wall started for the interior walls. That's the 5-inch hollow block. So later this afternoon, they had also poured the whole lintel beam here between the great room and the master suite on the other side. They're also starting to fabricate the remaining lintel beam going along the south wall of the master suite. So they'll work on those tomorrow. Mr. Jericho was already starting to set up where his stations and his scaffolding will be tomorrow to complete building the block walls. Thank you for watching. If you liked today's video, please hit like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon to be notified when our next video becomes available.